Welcome to Still Untitled, the Adam Savage Project. I'm Norm.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Matt Denton.
Matt, it's good to see you in the shop finally.
It's nice to be here finally.
We've been trying to meet for a long time.
Yep.
And you have actually been to San Francisco and been to the cave, and I happened to be out of town on a gig at that very moment, so this is the second try.
Indeed, yeah.
Welcome back.
And we crossed paths at the Maker Fair as well, in the Bay Area
That's
stuff.
right. Yeah. Earlier this year.
Yep.
Oh, well, a little bit about, a little bit of background for people who may or may not know who you are. But you're in the States, in town for D23.
Yep.
There's some big announcements, but you work with Lucasfilm.
Correct.
For the most recent Star Wars films.
Yes, indeed. The last 5 films. Yes, 5. I've got to count them up. Yeah, 5 films. Obviously, one of them's not come out yet, but
oh, right. Okay, yeah.
Engineering and operation of droids.
Yeah. So my background is animatronics for films. I'm a freelancer, and yes, for the last 5 years, I've worked on all the Star Wars productions. And my speciality is the control systems and electronics for animatronic creatures and droids, which is great.
So freaking awesome.
Yeah.
It's like we've gone to the source.
Yeah.
Right?
We're talking about BB-8 specifically because that's what you were at events like D23 or at premieres. You are operating off stage.
Correct.
A BB-8. I remember when I guess The Force Awakens was first announced all the details and that robot came out. People were like, "How could this be?"
Because then we just assumed looking at the trailer, well, that can't work.
Yeah. Well, we did as well in a way. To be honest, when we started the film, Force Awakens, my counterpart Josh, who's like the mechanical engineer on BB-8, he called me up and said, "I'm working on a project. I can't tell you what it is. Of course, I guessed what it is straight away. And I'm working on a new character, and it's a really tricky drive system. Could you come and have a look?" And so actually, when I went in, at that point, we would go through the script and looking at the script and saying it's got to work in sand, it's got to work on grass, all that kind of thing. We ruled out a real BB-8 because we have ILM, we have the digital artists that can remove rods and
paint
bits
rods out
exactly
all day
wheels.
long.
So we built 7 versions of BB-8. 2 of them were radio-controlled trikes. They had stabilizer wheels, which actually are really cool. There's one of the nicest droids I've built, just because of it's got like an Ackerman turning system. It's 3-wheel drive, so all the drives got to run at the right rate, so it doesn't, it's beautiful. And we had puppets, and we had one called a wiggler, which doesn't roll around but just sits on the spot and moves about.
Like the Kenny Baker R2 that has the sneakers in it.
Right, exactly. So it can just sit there and do its thing, and it's digitally clean, right? Because you can bury the plate in the sand or whatever. But then we got to the end of the film. We were always thinking about, a droid that could actually red carpet, as we called it. We thought, well, what are they going to do when they get to a premiere? We can't have like Brian the puppeteer pushing the puppet one along
with a big green rod sticking out of his chest.
Yeah, or the ones with the wheels are a bit disappointing. Although you can't believe it, but. So Josh and myself kind of went, well, maybe we should, have a go at it. It could be possible. There are rolling droids around or rolling robots around. All we got to do is figure out how to get the head on and how to control it.
So you did the whole first film without it being
correct.
That's fascinating. So I have a question here, which is I'm curious as when you developed the drive system for it for real, you had previously in making all the different versions of it had ascertained the way in which it would navigate, the way in which inertia would cause it to settle and stop. And I'm curious if there are any aspects of the puppeteering that you realized later you were wrong about when you had it actually driving by itself.
You can't do everything that the Puppet One can do, actually. But one of the things that I built into the trikes, the radio controlled ones, is I pick up the acceleration and deceleration curves from the software and I apply it to the head motion, for example.
Right.
So when you take off, the head leans in and stops and comes. So I add all that in.
That's specifically what I was wondering about.
Right. So and you get that, as I call it, free animation, because you're actually pulling off of real acceleration and deceleration.
Yeah, and that way it reads really. It's perfect, and it felt really right to me.
Yeah, the physics that you understand in the world.
But at the same time, I know that sometimes when you posit how something might move, and then you do it for real, like it might be quite different, or there might be new things.
Yeah, and so with the red carpet one, I usually dip the head down as I take off, or you can feed it in and have it automatic. You know, there's several ways to do it. Interestingly, though, actually, I'll come back to that in a minute.
Okay.
So
go ahead. I interrupted you.
So yeah, the red carpet one, we were saying, right, you know, I think we could build it. I think it's doable. Let's have a crack. So I think we built it in 5 weeks. We did a 5-week build of the original red carpet one, which had no paint on it. It was a grey sphere with a really ratty head, but it looked pretty good. And so we did a little video, and we filmed this video, and we sent it to JJ and Kathleen Kennedy, I believe. Neil Scandon, my boss, sent it on to them. And I think we called it Where's Brian, who's the puppeteer, one of our main, but we got Brian and Dave as our 2 puppeteers. So there's no green suit and all that kind of thing. And we just said, you know, would you be interested in this if you want to chuck some more money at it? We can make it look like BB-8. And we got a resounding yes, you know, like, please carry on. Here's a bit more money. And the deadline was Anaheim Celebration, which I think was April in 2015.
Yeah.
And I think we had about 6 weeks then to get it looking like BB-8 and making the alterations we wanted to make.
Nice. Wow.
So that was the red carpet, the birth of the Mark I red carpet. But the interesting part about that, so we just come back from D23 Anaheim, and that's where this whole thing started, because everyone thought that was going to be CG. They'd seen the one rolling through the desert, and then we're on stage and we know what's coming out next and all that, and we'd done one rehearsal the night before. I'd only been driving that for about a week at that point, and for some reason when I got on stage, I decided I was going to go circumnavigate R2 on stage. I don't know why I made it complicated for myself, but you know, so I'm running off a monitor, and I'm going behind something, and I lose it for a bit, and then it picks up again, and I made it really, I don't know why, but in the moment, it seemed like a cool thing to do, and it all worked out. But really funnily, when I came on stage with the Mark I, and JJ hadn't seen it at this point, no one had seen it, and I drove on in rehearsal, I had the head dipped down, like, you know, he's purposeful and he's going somewhere, and JJ went, yeah, can you keep the head up? And I was like, oh, okay. You know, he didn't say that's cool or anything. He just went.
He directed.
Yeah. He immediately had a no.
Can you just keep the head up, right? You know, I'd like it. You know, so then I'm trying to think, right, because it was built into the forward motion to try and make it. Right. So then I had to pull back on the head stick and drive forwards and trying to hit my spot and remember to turn and go around the back. Oh my, you know, so it became one of those things. And I think, to be honest, on the day we did it, I forgot, and I just drove it on, and the head's kind of dipped down a bit. But that was the thing. I mean,
you can pull up that footage on YouTube of the unveil, and they pan to the audience, and people are.
Oh no!
They're
I did
falling
the same
in love
thing at home
immediately.
It's because it hit Twitter immediately, and I was like, "Oh, what?"
Yeah,
it is without a doubt, you know, my career highlight, and I don't think you'll ever top it. You know, the feedback. I was remember backstage, and you're like, everything in your head's going whoa, 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 whoa. You know, everything's gone into slow motion. Yeah, and I do remember that. Whoa! There's just this massive roar.
Oh,
and I was looking back for Josh, who was behind me somewhere, you know, and I'm just kind of staring at it. And I'm still on stage trying to concentrate, and it's just whoa. And then it kind of calms down again, and JJ starts talking, and him and it was just amazing. I can't, you know, that was a one-off thing. I can't imagine it would ever happen again. You know?
That's the entertainment equivalent of the launching of the iPhone. And all the stories you heard about all the last minute engineering and tricks they had to get that stage performance.
Yeah, and you know what? We lost the battery. We had one BB-8 at that point. Now we have multiples for backup, but we had one, and we were charging it up, took it off charge, went to turn it on, and it wouldn't work. And I was like, oh God. And we're literally like nothing. It's completely dead. So then we're going, could it be the the ring, the power transmission ring? Could it be that? One of the battery solder joints, when the batteries heated up when they were charging, the solder joint had cracked. So then we had to say, and then we were going through the batteries, and one of them was open circuit, and it was literally about 2 hours before we were going on. So yeah,
classic.
Quick solder job right there.
I'm curious if you've crossed paths with my friend Don Bees.
I haven't, but Josh has worked with him. Josh worked on the Phantom Menace and was helping Don Bees with R2 on that.
Yeah. So Don Bees was the R2 operator for many, many years. He started out as the archivist at the Lucasfilm Ranch. When I met him at the model shop in '98, he'd been a model maker for many years, and specifically R2 was his main project. So I actually helped do I took one of the original NORAC engineering R2s and modified its 2-leg to 3-leg transitions for a shot from the second Star Wars film.
Right. Nice.
Episode 2. Nice. Yeah, it was really funny. And that was a pneumatic rig that would have taken your finger off if you had your finger in the wrong place. It was terrifying. It was like this, a real death trap.
Could you have punched holes in titanium with it?
You could almost. No, I don't think so. I think Iron Man would still win.
I mean, and since the release of Episode 7, that kind of and you know the appearance of BB-8 launched a whole category of toys and robotics of these kind of gyro-stabilized robots, and then also a whole community of builders who spent months trying to reverse engineer the things that you had been doing. Were you keeping an eye on that?
Of course we were. Yeah.
I'm curious if there were anybody's executions where you were like, oh, nifty solution. Hadn't considered that.
Well, I'm going to sound big-headed if I say no, but I don't think there were. There was things that we were amazed how fast people got onto it. That was the one thing. And there was all that, the media were going mad about how does it work? How does the head stay on? Right. What is it? And there was all sorts of people were being asked, like universities and engineering institutes. And I remember one quote in a paper where an engineer, doctor of engineering somewhere in London in one of our universities just said, there's a number of ways you could achieve that. It doesn't really matter how they did it. They executed it to perfection. And I thought, that's it. It's a smoke and mirrors. It's the magic trick. We work in film. It doesn't matter how we did it. We did it for, we did it for real, and everyone believed it, and it was real. And
this is my dad's joke. My dad used to say, when a dog is walking on its hind legs, you don't go, how well is he walking on his hind legs? You're just like, he's walking on his hind legs. That's enough for everybody. So he classified a whole level of performance as it's a dog walking on its hind legs. No one's going to question it.
Exactly. But we did, even say that, we did fall into the trap of we were building it. And, we were going, just if we can get it to roll along and turn and the head works, done. And then I was like, I think I figured out a way you can spin on the spot, because I was sat on my office chair doing this, going, if I do that, I can kind of shuffle around on my office chair. So is that just inertia? And then I said to Josh, could you make this bit spin, the batteries? Have you spun all the batteries? Because that's the heaviest part. And then we
and you go in the opposite.
Fast, and you spin it. Right. It's actually, it doesn't really work. If you just spin them and want to go in the opposite direction, you can't break out friction. Right. There's too much friction on the ground.
So you
what we do is spin the direction that you want to go and then break it. And then it transfers all that. So that was but that's one of the things on stage where people first went, oh, wow, look at it. And then someone on one of the Twitter feeds went, how did it just do that? It just spun on the spot. Do you know what I mean? Because then you're going, and it's those little things that, and like the Mark 1, and I can say all this because we released the designs for that on the celebration the following year when we were on to Mark 2. And we couldn't figure out how to get the LEDs into the sphere because it was a very thin fiberglass. Mm-hmm. So then again, I went, we could laser project. And it sounds crazy, and Josh was going, "Oh God, what have you?" Because then he has to work out where all the lights are on the surface, and we put an array of red, blue lasers and white taut. Actually, we use a focus mag light for the white, and they project out onto the outside of the sphere through lenses.
So they always know exactly the orientation of the sphere?
They just rotate with the axle.
Oh my gosh!
So once you've got them lined up, they stay there. And what's really interesting, because there's gubbins inside, they would quite often get shadowed by something and they blink. Right. So you get free blinking.
Yeah.
Wow.
Free animation.
Yeah.
That is a remarkable solution.
I mean, we moved on from that. We moved it, used LEDs, but it was another last minute thought. We couldn't start messing around with the fiberglass. We didn't have time. So I was like, well, what about if we chuck some?
Was there a specific mechanical problem that kicked your ass more than any other?
Probably the hardest part, to be honest, is building it in the sphere. Well, the original one was like a ship in a bottle for Josh, and he was like, how are we going to get it in and be able to repair it? If something does go wrong, then you'd have to crack a seam, which you then have to refill,
which has to be perfect.
And has to be perfect, and repaint, and we're not painters, and so that was the real thing, the ship in the bottle aspect of it.
Yeah,
I would say.
Because you guys aren't painters on set, is scenic department, are they keeping their version of BB-8?
We have painters. We have a creature effects painter called Henrik Svensson, who's painted all of us, a lot of our creatures and most of the BB-8s, who's incredible. But we didn't have him with us in Anaheim. So if something went wrong there and we had to break it, well, we could either work through the access panels we had, which were kind of triangles about this big.
Yeah.
Or there was you had to break it open.
Gosh.
So that was the horrible aspect of it.
And you just got back from D23, where you were performing 2.0 or 3.0.
That's kind of 2.1, I would say. So there's a 2.0, and then that was our production model. So once we built the red carpet, it then became part of our toolkit of all the BB-8s, because now we have trikes, we have puppets, and we have a red carpet one. So that's 2.1, because that's a slight upgrade on the 2.0. But
And he did well?
He did very well. Yeah, he did very well. He was with R2 and the new droid DO.
Right.
So, which got released at this celebration, just gone. So yeah, it did good. It's incredible. You can drive that BB-8 and R2 and DO through a crowd of A-list celebrities, and they'll all go crazy.
Look, there's, having an R2 in my shop, I still, every couple of days, I'm like, I can't believe this beautiful thing is in my shop. There's a thrill to seeing these things in person at full scale moving by themselves.
Totally. Because they're characters, and the emotional connection is true.
And we're even walking behind them with remotes. People don't care about us. They're just, unfortunately. But we're literally, so Salma Hayek comes up and says, "Oh my God, the droids," and she's looking at BB-8, and I'm thinking, yes, but then she's like, "Oh, R2, my child," and I'm like, "Oh, she prefers R2." and she went over and gave R2 a kiss, and I was like, "Oh." But she at least she acknowledged BB-8. So.
It's what our friends in the the R2D2 Builders Club, the Wally Builders Club, they all have that same story. They bring their Wallies and their R2s to conventions, and it's the reactions. It's so rewarding every time. Adults, kids, everyone cries.
It breaks down everyone, doesn't it? Yeah.
Oh yeah,
it's incredible.
Yeah, the thrill is real. It must. Even for you, I'm sure that when you first fired it up in the shop and it's moving around, there's a moment of, look at this.
Yeah, totally. I really enjoy my favorite part of my job. I've done 25 years in creature effects, but actually my favorite part has become doing live BB-8 performances.
Fascinating.
Because it's actually, when I was on Potter, I started to notice this. On Potter, we built some really incredible animatronics, but it was all starting to go digital.
Right.
We were losing a lot of work to digital. And one of the nicest things was the hippogriff that we built. We built a fully standing hippogriff which could move one front leg, one back leg. The tail would move, the wings would fully unfold, all feathered. The head is obviously fully animatronic, so you can make it bow and you can do all this kind of stuff. It never got used in the film. Literally never got used. We got on set and we planted it in the ground. It's the scene where Harry Potter first meets Hippogriff, Buckbeak, and he goes up and supposed to touch him, and basically the director went, "Okay, take a step forward with Buckbeak," and we're like, "No, it can't walk. It's planted." So that was that. Get rid of it. It's digital.
Wow.
But it became this incredible museum piece in our department, and kids would come in, and I'd have a running on the system performing it, but then I had a pre-programmed loop as well. My boss would come in and kind of go, "Oh God, here's Buckbeak, and you have to bow," and all the kids would love it and bow and stuff. And then they go, "Oh, it's him over there," like the man behind the curtain with the controls. And I'd hit a button and go, "No, it's not me." And I'd walk out with this pre-programmed loop, walk over to the hippogriff, go bow, and it would bow.
And then perform, it's a whole thing.
Yeah, and then before they figured out that it's on a loop, I'd get back to the controls and take over again.
Classic magician's trick. Change the parameters just as they think they figured it out.
So it's just like, I just realised at that point I really loved doing that performance aspect of it, which was lovely.
Yeah.
And so BB-8...
And the live feedback.
Yeah, and the live feedback. And so BB-8 is doing the live BB-8 stuff is a massive extension on from that. And
is there now, having contributed to film history with a wonderful drive system and the special bot, have you gained appreciation for other famous film robots, or is there one you'd love to tackle?
Ed 209. I love walking machines. I love walking. My hexapods I've built are all statically stable, but Ed 209, and I loved Scout Walkers. That's the first model I built that got me a job in the industry. Was a little scratch-built Scout Walker. So
you got the same kind of leg.
Yeah.
Right. So I actually worked on a physics simulation of a Scout Walker type droid thing for one of the films we were working on, but it never went anywhere. But I built the whole walking system in a physics environment. I just never got it to work for real.
Oh, and that's another example of where, that's stop motion animated.
Yeah.
Right.
Phil Tippett stuff.
Exactly.
Just,
and so you have the human touch and the human understanding of animation.
Yeah.
So if you do it mechanically, can you replicate all the human touches?
But can you add the ability to walk downstairs?
No, but then that's the tricky bit. But then that's the whole thing. That's my job. It's been my job for the whole time in animatronics. I'm always trying to make robots not look like a robot. So, because if they're creatures, they can't look robotic. So you have to add that human touch in.
Yeah.
And some of the hex pods I built, I put vision systems into them and stuff, and I just add filters like that damp the movement and stuff. And people go, that looks so lifelike. It's really simple tricks. Well, I think are simple tricks just to take the edge out of the flow of movement,
Yeah.
So if I did do an head turn, I would definitely make it. I would try and mimic what Phil Tippett did with the movement and the flow and stuff.
Well, there's a thing you said about BB-8's head going down. You get this extra animation.
Yes, the free animation.
The Muppeteers do that too,
right,
with their puppets. So specifically, when you see a Muppet that's got like feathers on its head,
yeah.
those feathers move.
Get that
and
flow of
they become this extra bonus animation that adds so much more life to the characters.
So we did a character called Six Eyes for Solo, which we took on stage with us at Celebration to demonstrate, because that is all of that idea is taken to the nth degree, which is, when I saw it, it has 6 eyes on stalks. And I was like, I'm putting an IMU in this head, and that's going to track a gyro, and it's going to track the movement. So one of the hardest things when you're performing eyes on somebody's animatronic face and someone else is inside the suit, you get no rehearsal time, so you don't know when they're going to look right or when they're going to look left, and when your eyes should blink and go with them. So with this system, I basically went to town with it, and all of the eyes basically track the actor's movements rather than the puppeteer. And I can still puppeteer them. I can take over manual control.
Crazy.
But so all that 3-axis data, you're just following it.
You kind of follow it, but also what I did is when there's gross move, I throw blinks in, because generally speaking, when you do that, it's a really cheap trick with animatronics. But if you just blink when you change gaze, it's all about the eyes. And it's a real cheap trick, but it works. And if you look at that footage of us demonstrating that in Anaheim, it's a beautiful thing. It's really, and it's taken that technology another step further and trying to get more free animation or procedural animation.
Awesome.
Before we continue with this week's episode, I want to let you know that Still Untitled this week is made possible with support from M&M's Hazelnut Spread chocolate candies. When you need to hit pause on the demands of everyday life, grab the new M&M's Hazelnut Spread chocolate candies, guaranteed to deliver a delicious combo of hazelnut spread and milk chocolate in every bite-sized piece. M&M's Hazelnut Spread is going where no hazelnut spread has gone before, right inside M&M's chocolate candies. If you love M&M's chocolate candies and you love hazelnut spread, just wait until you try these together for the first time. They've added a delicious hazelnut spread to the center of smooth M&M's milk chocolate and crunchy candy shell. Enjoy them on their own or use them to dress up your favorite other treats. Just imagine them baked into cookies or sprinkled on top of your go-to ice cream flavor. I used to eat hazelnut spread directly out of jars in college. All that deliciousness and energy would get me through those long nights, and now I can have them in a perfect bite-sized portion in the M&M's new hazelnut spread chocolate candies. In fact, I've been salivating the entire time reading this. Go hazelnutty and try the new M&M's hazelnut spread chocolate candies today. And now back to the conversation.
You're reminding me of something that my friend Mike Elizalde did at Spectral Motion for one of the Hellboy films with the death puppet with the eyes.
Yes, I've met him. Yeah,
I figured you had crossed paths with him and Mark Satrakian.
Mark Satraki. Sorry, I met Mark Satraki, and we went to Spectral Motion. We visited there, I think, last year sometime.
Amazing shop, and they do incredible stuff. Mark's an alien, but
Yeah.
I love the fact that all the eyes on that puppet all actually track to each other.
Wow.
Yeah,
which is one of those wow. Yeah, that's
what I love, when you can take something that our incredible builders, Gustav Huygen built the Six Eyes mech, and he put like nearly 60 servos in that head.
Oh my gosh!
And when you get something like that on your desk, and you think, this is just a joy, and because you're going to have so much fun getting it moving. But it's having the tools to do it. I've been working on control systems for so long that I've now got this lovely toolkit of stuff that I can go, we're going to stick that in there and that in there.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah, it's fun. It's really good fun.
When you were down in Anaheim, did you get a chance to go through and see the new animatronics in Galaxy's Edge, the Disneyland park?
I did see Galaxy's Edge. I didn't see many. I'll tell you what, I did see one animatronic actually, and it was in one of the gift shops. I think it was on the high-end gift shop. I can't remember what it was called now. And it's I can't remember what it was. One of our creatures as well.
I know you're talking about the long, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Beautiful. Yeah, beautiful. Really nice.
And that one has a great, keep alive, the breathing.
Yeah. And it's just it's the nice. And again, I've noticed they're throwing blinks when they change gaze and stuff. All that lot of things. Yeah, it's beautiful.
There's only a few tricks and they work for everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
And I very fortunately visited 3 or 4 years back now, Imagineering, and they were working on the big blue, what was it for? Avatar.
Yeah,
Avatar.
Right. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah,
Doc Ondar is the name of the character.
Yeah, really lovely. But then they were animating that in. That's really clever. So then they were animating that in an animation package in virtual animation and just transferring it straight to the animatronic, which is
when stunning. You see things like Boston Dynamics robots, their Big Dog and their SpotMinis, do you get excited about the future of robots and how they might be able to work with us?
Totally. Yeah, I don't get this. It's the apocalypse coming robots. No, it's not. Come on. There's always an off button and they need charging still. It's fine.
My friend, Rodney Brooks, a former director of MIT Media Lab, had this great phrase he said to me at a conference we were at. He said, look, we should definitely be scared about hyper-intelligent AI, but not yet. He said, getting scared about it right now is like discovering fire and worrying about thermonuclear war. Right. Yeah, it's going to happen, but it's going to be we're going to have a long time.
Yeah, exactly. I embrace it. I love it.
You find is it power still the big gating factor right now? I mean, things balance
power density,
and just need all the weight.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, you could run it off a small nuclear reactor, but people aren't going to like that, are they? So, it's like, okay, it's a nuclear SpotMini.
It can run for 10,000 years.
Exactly. PR disaster, but
that's right. Yeah, you use one of those nuclear heating units they use in space, and run a little Stirling engine on it. It could run forever.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. But,
contaminating everybody it touches.
Yeah. No, I love the Boston Dynamics stuff is beautiful, and the way they move as well. They've it's getting less and less robot like. The flow of the motion again. I look at that and think, I'd love to get hold of one and do play with some of the algorithms on it or something.
Well, so I was at a conference last year and Mark Rabert was giving a demo about how SpotMini moves through space, which is totally amazing because it's really simple. It can map the space, and then it says, okay, if I move with a gait of 18 inches, here's where all my footprints will appear as I navigate the path. Oh, I'm hitting 2 obstacles. Okay, let's do 17.5 inches. And it just adjusts the gate until it hits no obstacles on its way.
Yeah, that's nice, isn't it?
It's brilliant. And we were looking at its layout with green steps and red steps, and it just has this algorithm that says, good enough, let's start moving. And it just, with every step it takes, it reassesses what's in front of it.
See, my Mantis robot, my giant hexapod, has no view of its external world. It literally only knows the world when it's touched it.
Right.
So it's doing it purely by touch. So you can only assume that everything in front of you is an obstacle. So that's why it moves quite slowly.
Right.
Because it's not. It's running. It's like running for a football field pitch blind or a boulder field blind or whatever. You're just, how hard is it? And it's really hard to run blind. So everything that it touches, once it's touched it, it knows how high it is and where it is, and But by the time it's hit an obstacle, it's probably too late because it's crashed through it. Because it's a 150 kilo leg, So it's a very different way of doing things. But
is your ideal like being able to ride your robot to work?
Yeah, sure, but it would 1 mile an hour. It's about 1 mile an hour,
maybe
and about
at a certain point you'll be able to make one gallop.
2 gallons per mile.
2 gallons. I have heard that tanks, the fuel efficiency of a tank is often in gallons per mile.
There you go. Great. I like to be in that statistics.
And that's big power density.
It is. Yeah, and with a 4-gallon tank, you're not getting very far. So.
What other personal projects are you working on?
The next question.
Personal projects. So I'm still doing my giant Lego stuff. I haven't done some giant Lego for a while, but if you don't know, I scale up 1980s technical Lego kits, which for me, is my love letter to Lego, because that's what got my engineering brain going, was Lego Technic in the late 70s and 80s. So I started with them and just started scaling them up with my nephew. He builds them with me and stuff. And I've got another one.
Resin or fiberglass?
No, it's all 3D printed.
Oh, right.
So,
okay.
yeah,
there you go.
PLA 3D printed.
So it's slow.
You say it's incredible, actually. I started with a go-kart, was 100 pieces. The last thing I did was a tractor was 350 pieces. I did a bulldozer before that was 400 pieces.
So you're making individual pieces.
So literally individual pieces.
You're slowly just constantly cycling.
You're using the system.
I mean, exactly, yeah. And I have 4 printers now, so then you can start to really churn stuff out. And I used to just load them up, and I'd print like 12-hour runs overnight, and then have another 12-hour run for the day shift, and then a 12-hour run for the night shift, and so on. Just try and be efficient.
We got to get on this program.
Well, no, Sean makes big ones too.
Yeah.
And did you meet Adam from Google X, who does the foam ones? He did the foam helicopter.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That flies. Yeah, if you do them on a lightweight foam. You can...
Oh yeah, absolutely. Why not? So I've got another giant Lego thing coming up, which is even bigger still. So I usually do 5 times scale, and this one's 8.34 times scale.
Why such a specific number?
See, there's a very good reason for a specific number. It should have been 8.33 recurring, but I rounded up to 8.34 just because it's easier, and that is because that the diameter of a Lego Technic axle then becomes 40 millimeters, and you can get 40 mil bearings.
That's how specifically. You didn't want to just have one part be misscaled.
Nope.
You had to have the entire. I really appreciate that attention.
So at 5 times scale, the bearing is 24 mil. So yeah, that worked out bang on. But
I was going to say print bed size, but this makes much more sense.
Well, there's a bit of that as well. So there was the print bed size to fit a 1x4 brick on and be as big as I can. Worked out at 8.34. So yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So if you ran into somebody who has a 3D printing company and they say to you, "Oh, you should print some stuff on my printer," you just have like, "Here, give me 150 of these."
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I love that. I always have to think about what the project is. Oh man, well maybe we'll do a space helmet, but I love having a roster of send me a whole bunch of these.
Yeah.
That's great.
It's good. So yeah, a bit of that, and what else is coming up? I've been working on my camper van. I think I said I was doing a camper conversion, so that's all like CNC plywood, and it's really nice to be working in plywood again because I've been doing 3D printing in plastic for so long. I've forgotten about my routing. I've got a CNC router, and I've forgotten I used to build everything flat pack. Yeah, everything was like, right, how can I make it flat and then notch things in and put like...
It's the best. And try and do it in one pass, right?
Yeah, right.
So drawing and then you do it and it all snaps.
Exactly. So I've gone back to that now. And I thought, this is lovely. This working in lovely birch plywood and, just the smell of it and the feel of it compared to plastics again.
So we just we just did Silicon Valley Comic Con. I was showing you my Starlord helmet, and it was all 3D printing, finishing, and painting here. Yeah. So I broke out some old lacquer primers I had to get this across the line, but it was all that kind of work. And so the weekend following, I just came in here and did some work with plywood because it was so nice to glue and staple and route. And,
yeah, it's good.
I totally agree.
I think that's it. I'm just. Do
you have trips planned with the camper van?
I've been to France, so we gave it one outing. I literally. The problem is, I can't do things by halves, and. So my girlfriend went, "Oh, look, we should go to France before she starts a new job." And I said, "Yeah, okay, great, right. I'm going to get the whole camp system built then." So I had about 2 weeks, and I'd done a lot of the CAD work, but I did get it together, and it had like a fresh water system and a cooking bit and a fridge and so I did too much in one go. So then I took it to France. Worked really well, but as soon as I got back, I stripped it all out, and I'm onto Mark III now. So so now it's all going back in again, but better.
I can see we're very similar.
But I would love to go and I'd love to go and do a longer trip. I'd love to do a couple of months or whatever in Europe or somewhere, like Scandinavia and stuff.
Be delightful.
Yeah.
Do you document all your projects and kind of your progress logs and?
Not well enough. The problem is, so my YouTube channel goes up and down through phases. My problem I love making things. I hate stopping to film them.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, and I find it like the camper van thing. I think, the camper van stuff doesn't do very well either. So you're making it, like just out of love, really, just in case someone does does someone want to see it. The Lego does well. The giant Lego usually does well, but I just want to make it, and I've built all the stuff, and then I'm like, now I've got to set up a table and some lights and talk about it and film it, and I don't do it as I go along. So then I've got to backtrack and think,
then it comes less for you.
Yeah, totally. So exactly, and but then I kind of feel like I have to because it's
I feel guilty every time I build something without filming it.
Yeah. So
But you have to do some stuff without filming.
Yeah.
It's really
critical.
Yeah,
I agree.
fascinating. Yeah. Eventually, people are going to want that. The history of BB-8.
Yeah.
All the problems that were solved. Mark 1, Mark 2.
Yeah.
Mark 3, whatever comes down the line.
Maybe one day we'll be able to do that.
Do you ever go onto the BB-8 builders group and supply information and encouragement?
Not supply information, no.
Right.
Too many NDAs.
Even about mechanical drive systems and stuff?
Well, they're always very keen to show me what they've built, which is lovely, and it is amazing seeing such a incredible following of that character and what they're coming up with, and they've all come up with slightly different versions of ways. And some of the stuff, I look at some of the builds and I'm like, it's much neater than ours inside. You know what I mean? It's really, they've really put their heart.
Yeah, there's
and
a couple of
soul into
R2s that are mind blowing. That every door opens. There's not a single R2 at ILM that can do that.
Totally, exactly. Yeah, because we build to what we need. We build for the shop.
Only the requirement.
We don't need to do exactly. So there are some stuff out there. There's some stuff out there that I've looked at and gone, yeah, that's really nice. And you just want to be able to go, if you did that. But I can't. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's really frustrating, and I don't think yet I've really given away too much. I hope I haven't. I don't know. They do try and ply me with drink now and again. But,
I totally get you on that one.
Yeah, too many NDAs. It's a shame. Maybe one day, when no one cares anymore.
I think the film can get so much out of these communities in terms of enthusiasm. I love the idea of a future where they realize that with some give back, it is a net positive for everyone.
Yeah.
And Lucasfilm, I mean, to be clear, Lucasfilm is an early adopter of understanding that fans do great stuff and to leave them alone and not send cease and desist orders. And
well, totally. I mean, we have Lee Towersy and Oliver Steeples worked on episode 7, who were both fan builders of R2-D2, and Lee is still with us. In fact, I was with him at D23 just the other day. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it is really good. And we use fan build droids, for the film. So we pull them in. And
what an encomium for a builder.
Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah, it's really good. So that is I just think it's more about the new stuff we build. They're more of funny about. But they did let us, to fair play, and when we came out to do Celebration in London, it was me that suggested it, actually. I kind of went, hey, wonder if we should just show them what was inside BB-8. Everyone was asking about it and we couldn't say anything. And, does it really matter anymore? I don't know,
Yeah.
And the answer came back, yeah, sure. I was shocked. And I actually had to convince Josh, the other engineer. He was like, I don't know whether we should show it because they can see how I built it. They can't see your software. They can see my exposed. Yeah. So I had to, in fact, my boss, Neil Scanlon, convinced Josh that it was a cool thing to do, And so the very last shot. So a lot of the audience were a bit like, why are we looking at this inside of this mech? But then a load of the droid builders were like, oh, get the cameras out, phones out, and
go.
Stream, So, and now we have a whole load of builders who are building the Mark 1 BB-8 exactly as it was. And I've met them and I've gone, we wouldn't do it that way anymore. I don't care. I want it to be screen accurate to how the Mark 1
was built. Totally get that one.
Yeah. Amazing.
Hilarious.
Well, next time we see one on stage and next time at a big event, we'll appreciate the animation, but we'll also see that you're behind the curtain and appreciate all the hard. Yeah, exactly.
I'm delighted that you made it over to the cave. Thanks for being on our podcast today.
I'm delighted to have got here.
Absolutely.
It's amazing. Thank you.
Of course. You're welcome anytime.
Thank you very much.